Hi, Manta Rays. All right. Today we are going to be learning how do we model real life equations. So we're going to continue our work from yesterday around multiplying or dividing to undo a problem so that we can isolate the variable. Today we're going to apply that knowledge one step further to real life situations when you're trying to solve for an unknown. So in real life, the way that you would use this math is that you would first have to create an equation out of whatever the situation is. So for example, the first problem we have says that the temperature at midnight is 56 degrees Fahrenheit. They also say, it's the wrong color, that the temperature decreases. It decreases, what did they say? 4.5 degrees Fahrenheit per hour. So every hour is going to decrease 4.5 degrees per hour. And they want to know, when will the temperature be 32 degrees? So when will the temp be 32 degrees Fahrenheit? Okay, so a couple things here that we need to look at. So our first idea is that we want to solve for the temperature. Okay, so at midnight, it's 56 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature decreases 4.5 degrees every hour. Okay, so we have some clue words here. It decreases 4.5 per hour. We want to know, when is the temperature 32 degrees? All right, so we need to think about first, how do we get to 32 degrees Fahrenheit? How would we do the opposite of per hour? And what does the word decreases mean? So those are some things that we need to think about. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is probably think about this part of the problem right here. Decreases sounds like a negative. 4.5 per hour sounds like a multiplication problem, because I want to be able to divide something in order to get the per hour. So we're going to have to do the opposite to start with, which is multiplication. So let's use T for temperature. So we're going to use T for temperature, and it's decreasing 4.5 per hour. So let's go negative 4.5 every hour. What do we put for the equals though? What is this supposed to equal? Well, we know that we're looking for the difference between 56 and 32 to get our total temperature that we're decreasing. So we're going to look at 56, and we want the temperature to be 32 degrees. So how many degrees does it go down? It goes down 24 degrees. So if it's going down 24 degrees, we're also going to use a negative sign. Okay, so down 24 degrees. Now we're ready to solve. We have an algebraic expression, or equation, written because it has the equal sign. We're going down 4.5 per hour. We know that negative 24 is our total of what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and try to solve and see what we get. All right, so over here I'm going to divide by negative 4.5. And on this side, I'm going to divide by negative 4.5. All right, 4.5, we can do division like you can divide into a fraction if you want. If fractions are easier for you to do division with, we can do keep, change, flip. Or this is a standard that you're able to use a calculator for. So let's go ahead and pull out our calculators and make this a whole lot easier on ourselves. All right, I have my calculator, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to enter in our numbers here. This cancels out and becomes a 1, because a negative divided by a negative of the exact same number is a positive 1, or just letter T. All right, and now we have 24 with a negative sign divided by 4.5 with a negative sign, and that gives us, oh my gosh, okay, so this is going to give us 5.3 repeating, or 5 3/10, or 5 33/100. Your choice. Okay, so what does this mean? When will the temperature be 32 degrees Fahrenheit? Well, it means it will be 32 degrees Fahrenheit after 5 hours and 1/3 of an hour. Or, 3/10 of an hour. So 3/10 of an hour is going to be the same thing as 1/3, right? Yeah, 1/3. So 5 and 1/3. So after 5 hours and 1/3, or 5:20 a.m. Because you would subtract on your clock from midnight, so from 12 o'clock a.m. to 5 hours, so 12 to 5, so there's your 5. So it's 5 a.m. because that's 5 hours later. So 12 plus the 5, so 5 hours later. And 1/3. Well, 1/3 of your clock, 1/4 would be, so you've got 60 minutes, right? 60 divided by 3 is 20 minutes. So 5:20 a.m. So our solution is, oh my gosh, this was a hard problem. This was challenging, right? So 5:20 a.m. When will the temperature be 32 degrees? If it keeps decreasing by 4.5, it will be at 5:20 a.m. Right on, everyone. Okay, let's do another problem that hopefully doesn't have a decimal in it. Weird. Okay, we haven't done decimals in a really long time. Okay, let's see. The elevation of the surface of a lake. So example B, it says the elevation, so that's kind of like upwards, right? The elevation of the surface of a lake is 315 feet. So elevation is 315 feet. Okay, during a drought, so when there's no water, the level of the lake changes -3 feet per week. Okay, so there's a change of -3 feet per week, because that means it's going down. So it's going down per week. How long will it take for the surface to reach 299 feet? So how long until it reaches 299 feet? Okay, so every week it's minus this. We're going here. We want a total. So we need to use this information to help us find when it will reach that surface. Okay. So let's start with some clue words. So let's go ahead and start with some clue words. So we're looking for the total. All right, so we want a total elevation. How long until it reaches 299 feet? So total, our clue words are 3 feet per week. Let's circle those up. -3 per W. So we can do -3 per W. And we want to know the difference here. How long is it going to take to get to the difference? Well, our difference between 315 and 299 is 16 feet. So 16 is our total that we're looking for. So now we want to know, how do we divide this? Okay, so we're going to undo our operation just like we did before. So we're going to do the opposite. So right now it's in multiplication form. Instead, we need to put this into division. Negative divided by a negative gives us a positive 1W. And W equals 16 divided by -3. So let's go ahead and do our calculator here. Oh, and this should have been -16 because it was going down. I forgot my negative. Okay, it wouldn't make sense for us to have negative weeks. So that's why I was thinking, man, I messed up here. So make sure that your answer makes sense in math. Okay, so we have 16 degrees negative, elevation. We went down 16 degrees and we are dividing it by, division. Dividing it by 3 feet every week. And it gave us the exact same answer, you guys. That's hilarious. Okay, so we get a total of 5.3 or 5 3/10 repeating for the week. Okay, so what is 5 3/10? Well, it's just going to be 5 1/3. So 1/3 of the week. So it would just be a couple of days. So it would be 5 weeks. And then like maybe 2 days. So, yeah. So, we can just round it and say after 5 days. So after 5 days, it would give us, weeks. After 5 weeks, not days. Oops, weeks. That's what the W stood for. So after 5 weeks, it would have gone down 299 degrees. Or feet. Okay, let's do a try it. I'm going to do it on the next page though, because I want you to have enough space to write, because these problems take up a ton of space. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll write out the story problem first, and then you will get to do your try it. We'll pause it after that. So here is your try it. And the try it says, the record low temperature in Montana is 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So the low temp is -70 degrees Fahrenheit. That is really stinking cold. Okay, the record low temperature in Montana. So this temp in Montana is 1.4 times, what is with all these 0.4s and 0.3s, times in Nevada. So it is that much colder than in Nevada. So we want to know, what is the record low temperature in Nevada? So what is the temp in Nevada? All right. Woo! Okay, so go ahead and pull out the important information, hit pause, and then go ahead and try to solve this one on your own, and then we will check your work. Hopefully you hit pause. Okay, so it says the lowest temperature is -70. So is our clue word for an equal sign. So we have is -70. Okay, so Montana is 1 4/10 times that in Nevada. Okay, so we can say 1.4 in the temperature there. So times the temperature in Nevada. Okay, now we need to solve for the temperature in Nevada. Okay, so let's think about this. This is not going to be a negative because we're not like going down, right? We want this temperature to be a low temperature. If we made this a negative, it would go away, which would give us a positive. And that wouldn't make sense. So undo this. To undo this, we need to divide and do the opposite. So divide by 1.4 and divide by 1.4. And this is going to give us a temperature of, let's check this. If this is 5.3, I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, so it's 70 negative divided by 1.4, and that gives us a total of T equaling -50 degrees. Wow, that is really, really cold. Not as cold as in Montana, but 1.4 times less or warmer in Nevada than Montana is 50 degrees. Oh my gosh, -50 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, and we can also check this by just using substitution again and putting that -50 in here and seeing if we get -70. So let's check to see if our solution is true. And so we'll take -50, multiply that by 1.4, and we should get, -70. So this is the solution. All right, it is your time now to answer your essential question about how do we model real life equations. So how are we modeling these real life equations? What did we do? And then put your level of understanding out here in the box. One, I am really, really struggling with just even writing an equation from the words. 2, I understand how to get the information out, but I'm wondering about the negatives and the positives, and sometimes they're not right. Or 3, I totally understand this. I'm able to write a word sentence into a number sentence. I can then solve it by doing the opposite, and my answer makes sense. So where are you at? And then head on over to either the Google Meet to ask for more help, or you can work on your practice work. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. I appreciate everything, and have an awesome, awesome day. Bye.